Eshaan. Eshaan was probably the funniest student in the classroom at all times. And at the very start when I met him, I told him a couple of things. I told him that most likely we're going to try to look to ChatGPT for debugging at all times, but we're going to try to also double check our sources and also try to Google a little bit, maybe look up at other schematics and try other sources, right? So I remember I told him that, and then I walked away and I came back and was like, oh, you need help breadboarding? And I sat down with him and showed him breadboarding, and it felt like I wasn't really sure if I was making sense to him, and I kept talking and talking. I was like, hey, it's like this. These are how the breadboards are. This is how it's connected. You put this over here, and I was showing him how the divider circuit works, and I wasn't really sure if he was understanding. And I walked away, and I walked back a couple seconds later, and I noticed he had divider circuit pulled up on ChatGPT and on Google, so I guess he was double checking me as a source. that was a really good experience. But all in all, he was really smart, and he also figured out how to breadboard really quick. And I guess I was just talking for a little too long, but it was really good. And I'm thinking that you guys are all going to enjoy his project really a lot. Yeah, you're going to enjoy it a lot.
Hello everyone, my name is Eshaan and I go to Sacred Heart School. So this is my project called Smart Glasses, which I like to call SMAT because it's smart, it can do math, it can analyze pictures, images that I give it, and it's tech, and it's also put all with the mini computer, the Raspberry Pi, and the breadboard I put on the hand. So I chose this project because it was very fun on the Blue Stamp project book, and I knew I could definitely add my own flair to it and customize it however I wanted to. So how it works is there's a Pi camera right here, which basically looks at the live feed around it, and then it sends that live feed to Gemini, which then analyzes that live feed and then gives the response in return. So here's a quick demo of how my project looks. So it's taking quite long right here because the camera is just trying to set up. And the first thing it'll prompt me is, what would I like to see? Math problem or scenery? And then on my OLED screen, it's displaying waiting. And I'll show it to you. So I'm going to put it on. And it's on. And it's waiting because it's waiting for me to prompt this. So I'm gonna say scenery. And then it's gonna prompt me what object would I like to detect. So let me say laptop, because that's right in front of me. And then it's gonna say a distance, but this is right now not accurate. So I guess this one, the Pi camera wasn't able to see my laptop that was right in front of me. So it's gonna ask me to prompt me, what would you like to do next, or like would I like to continue, or would I like to exit? So I'm gonna say continue, and then it's gonna ask me would I like to change the topic, and I'm gonna say no. And then it's gonna prompt me again, what object would I like to detect? And this time, to be safe, I'm gonna do a flag. And then okay, let's try one more time and see if this works. I'm gonna probably try to detect my laptop. problems. So I'm gonna click continue. It's gonna prompt me what I'm gonna change problem. I'll say yes. Then it's gonna ask me what I want to do. So I'm gonna say math. And then on my OLED screen, it's gonna display the answer to the equation right here. And there we go. And then now that I've finished this demo, my smart glasses can solve all types of problems because I didn't hard code it to just solve only math problems, but I actually have something in my code that prompts Gemini to solve all types of questions rather than just only math problems. I can exit and it's gonna exit from the code. So some major challenges I faced throughout this project was probably measurement. As you can see here, the frame for the OLED screen, it took me 14 tries to bring the correct one because the measurements are not correct and I had a couple design flaws in while the measurements were also not correct. So how I overcame this challenge is I started to use calipers, which helped me measure much better and much more accurate. But something I learned from Bootcamp is something called the divider circuit. Because I had to use that concept, I had to apply that concept when figuring out how to connect my breadboard, my ultrasonic sensor, to my Raspberry Pi. And I had to learn about because an ultrasonic sensor holds 5 voltage, holds 5V, which is 5 voltages, but the Raspberry Pi can only handle 3 voltages. So in order to do that, I had to figure out I had to learn about the divider circuit and using resistors to regulate the amount of voltage that's coming in from the ultrasonic sensor to the Raspberry Pi. Now, one thing I learned from this though is it doesn't matter the numbers of the resistors. I can use, rather than using a 1K and a 2K, it matters about the ratio. So for example, if I use a 1K resistor and a 2K resistor, that's what the instruction says, I can replace it with the 1 million and 2 million resistor, and they both have the same voltage drop. Some next steps for my project is to definitely incorporate augmented reality to make this experience much more user-friendly and much better experience, because augmented reality is the future for classes like mine and many others. Another step I want to do is to make it look a lot neater, because as you can see, there's a lot of wires coming from this hat to the glasses, and I don't want that to look so cluttered and messy. That's all. Thank you.
Any questions?
When it's sending the request, is the request different depending on if it's in math mode versus object detection mode when you send it to Gemini, or how do you differentiate what you want to ask?
Because I basically have 2 different prompts and that are in an if statement. So if the user types math as the input in the terminal, then what it will do is it will do the questions only related to math. So it'll ask basically say math. It'll basically just run the code and just look at the camera. The camera will just look at the math question and then we'll just give you the answer. Whereas for scenery, if I want to detect a certain object, and I can enter laptop like I did in my demo, and it'll basically take that laptop out of the rest of the picture, and rather than describing the entire scene, it'll just describe how far the laptop is and what's surrounding the laptop.
Why do you choose Gemini rather than ChatGPT or
because I chose Gemini because I was forced to. I couldn't use ChatGPT because the teacher said it was too expensive. And then Claude, I had no idea how to use because they don't provide online. I mean, I think they do, but then I wasn't able to find the online APIs. Yeah.
Just one question. Have you tried sort of switching up the prompts? For example, when you say solve a math question and showing the scenery, what does it do?
So for math question, in my code, I have a way to like there's a prompt there saying if user types in math, then solve the math question that they're showing right in front of them. And for scenery, if the user says I want to see a laptop or something like that, then basically what the prompt will do is it will take that one item out of the entire scene, and then it will basically describe the exact distance along with what's like basically surrounding. Yeah.
Do you have to provide the instructions through the coding or through the computer? Can you provide the instruction like through voice?
I tried to do that a couple times this week, but because I didn't have access to a good microphone, and I had to just plug in some chip into my Raspberry Pi, I wasn't able to get the word speech to text to work. Yeah.
You said it can solve all types of problems, not just math problems?
Yeah.
It can solve my life problems, like I keep waking up late in the morning. Can it solve that?
I don't think it can solve physical problems. It can solve like problems that you put on paper or problems that are shown from phones and
So if I write it out, they tell me?
Yeah.